Hey everyone, Kelly Dean Allen here once again. Today, going to show you guys how to play Let the Music Do the Talkin' by Joe Perry and Aerosmith. A cut from the band's very underrated 1985 album, Done with Mirrors, the comeback album that didn't really do a whole heck of a lot for the band's waning popularity when it was initially released. That would thankfully come a couple of years later on this album's follow-up, Permanent Vacation. However, like I said, this is a damn fine album nonetheless. That said, I covered this track a couple of days ago, and the response was pretty good, so I figured that I'd sit down, pop out a tutorial for it, see if a few other people out there might like to take on this kick-ass Aerosmith classic. So let's close in, learn how to play Let the Music Do the Talkin'. Alright then, Let the Music Do the Talking, and Aerosmith from Done with Mirrors. You're gonna need a slide for this one. There's a lot of slide playing in this one, and we are in open G tuning. So from standard tuning, your D, G, and B string are standard, but your low E, your A string, and your high E are all tuned down a full step. So your low E is down to D, your A is down to G. Like I said, your D, G, and B are standard, and your high E is also down to D, right? Open G tuning. So there's multiple guitars going on with this one, and Brad Whitford at the beginning of this one is just chugging along on an open G power chord, you know, A string, but it's tuned down to G, right? Just that. For about the first 30-40 seconds of the song, he's just chugging along on open A, open D, right? And so Joe Perry also starts that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And after 2 bars, he's going to slide into the 3rd fret of the D and the G string, right? 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he's going to slide out of that after hanging on it for a bit, grab the open A, and then catch the D and the G string on the upstroke. Kind of like that, right? 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba-dum. Again. Ba-dum. Now we're into this. Right, just grabbing a double stop here on the 3s of the B and the high E, bouncing back to the open A, that kind of rhythm, right? Group of 3, and a little pause, and then one more. 3 times. Right? And then we're into this. And we're going to repeat that a whole bunch of times. So while Brad Whitford is still just chugging along on the A and the D string, right? So unison bend here. So we're bending, we're holding the 12 of the B string with our index. We're bending the 14 of the G, right? Then you're going to release that bend off to 12 of the G and back onto 14. Then you're going to back it up to a unison bend here on the 5 of the B and the 7 of the G, and then back 2 more spots, right, to 3 and 5. And then we're going to do that. Open D, open G, 3rd fret, pulling it off to open, and doing the same thing on the 5s and then the 3s again. Right? Immediately jump back into this. You're going to repeat that 4 times before the vocals come in. And when the vocals come in, Joe is going to keep doing this. But it's buried in the mix a little bit more. They turn that down during the verses, right? And the prominent guitar is basically just the chugging open A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? For like 16 bars. And then we're leading into the chorus. Right, and we're going to repeat that, I think, 4 times during the chorus. So coming out of that, 3 to 2 off to open, double stops, right? On the D and the G string. Then you're kind of chugging on the open A string along with these little double stops that you're grabbing, right? So you're grabbing a double stop on the 3s, pulling it off, a couple of chugs of the open A, then you're on to the 4s, a couple of chugs of the open A, you're pulling that off to open. And then you're sliding into the 5s, right? And then you can use your slide here or your finger. 3, slide back to 2 off to open, right? Or you can slide it, right? So that's the chorus. Into a little slide solo. So there's 3 guitars going on here, and it's really hard to hear what he's doing with the slide because Brad Whitford is back into chugging again, and this is going on again. Underneath, right? And over that is a slide solo that kind of all kind of blends together. But what we're doing here with the slide, something like that. We're on the 10s and 12s, right? D and G string. Kind of like that. Sliding the 12 back to 10, sliding into the 12 of the D, back to the 12 of the G. And then kind of doing the same thing, but finishing with a little slide from 12 back to 10 of the G. And then we're going to go down the 12s. Right? Sliding into 15 back to 12. Something like that, and then you start it over again. And then you're going to go up to 15 of the high E, slide it back to 14, and then grab the 15 of the B and kind of get that looping. Kind of like that, and you do that like 4 times, right? And that's that little solo. Right, and then we're into the next verse. Into that again. And like I said, that's really buried in the mix during the verses. The main guitar is just that, right, for 3 bars. And then that, right? And so like 16 bars of that for the second verse, and we're back into another chorus. And then you finally, at the end of that chorus, you jump up here to the 12th fret, D, G, and B string, and you kind of just slide out of it, right? And then we're into the slide solo proper. So we're going to play that 4 times. D and G string, 3rd fret, sliding it back to 2 off to open. Then you're going to grab a note with your finger, actually, on the 3rd fret of the D and pull it off to open. and then catch the G and D on the upstroke together, right? And then you're going to grab the 5, slide it back to 3, and back off to open. And repeat that 4 times. Right? And then we're into the 10th fret. Sliding it into the 12th fret. And you repeat that twice. And you go right down to the B string if you like, right? And then we're into the 17th fret. Backing it up to 15, repeating. Right? And then we're into this. We're just grabbing double stops on the 12s, bouncing off them, right? Bum, 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 bum. And then you're dropping off to double stops on the 10s, doing the same thing, like 3 hits, right? Bum, 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 bum. Bouncing off to the open strings. Bum, 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 bum. Then you're going to drop the slide back onto the 3rd fret. Maybe you can start at the 2, slide it into the 3. Slide it into 5, and then we're into this, which is very similar to something from another Aerosmith track, and I can't think of what one it is, but maybe it's Draw the Line, I'm not sure, but he's pulling this lick out again. Open 2, 3, 4, and then reversing, right? And then dropping onto the 5s, double stop on the high E and B, and then pulling it off to the 3s, right? Kind of like that, or sliding back. Kind of like that, right? Catching the B and the high E. Right, you're going to repeat that like 4 times. Or you could use the slide, I suppose. Right? And then there's key change. So then we jump into the 10th fret. Something like that. This is not exact, but it'll get you through it. So we're into the 10th fret on the D and the G. Then you go back it up to the 8 of the B, slide it into 10, and then down to the 10 of the high E. Into 13. Slide it back to 10, and then catch the B string. And then back it up to 8 of the B, slide it back into 10, and then up to 10 of the G, right? You can double that up, right? And then you repeat. And then you just grab the D and G and B string, and then just slide out of it, right? Nice and slow, right back into another chorus. Until the end of the track. You repeat that, I don't know, 8 times, something like that. And that is how you play Let the Music Do the Talking by Aerosmith. Certainly hope you enjoyed that, found it helpful. If you did, please hit that like button right down there. Maybe drop me a subscribe if you haven't done that already, as that would be very kind. Hope you're well out there, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.